What's going on, everyone, and welcome to the Trail Theory Podcast. I'm Brian.
I'm Alex.
I'm Austin.
And I'm Pfeiffer. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Trail Theory Podcast. We are from the van today.
From the van.
We were going to be from the trail, but instead we are from the van. We'll tell you exactly why. But we are just coming back from our trip to the Adirondacks, hit some peaks, faced some adversity, had a good time. And,
our legs are sore.
Legs are very sore.
So we're going to talk about that and... kind of just do a recap of the trip. How are we feeling, boys?
The seatbelt buckle continues to go up my ass, so my ass is going to be really sore, too.
Good. Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, so let's talk about that first, all right? So this is an odd setting. We are from the van. We are in Sadie. Mercedes.
We bought a van.
We bought a van.
We wish we
definitely didn't do that. So we are in a Mercedes Sprinter van, kind of by accident. So, like, typically when we have a group bigger than, like, 5 or 6, we'll rent, a
van.
Wow.
Hey, here's Siri.
All right, that's enough.
Sadie's trying to be friends.
This is going to be chaotic. So we like to usually like rent like either like a 15-passenger van. This one we were like, let's do a minivan.
Well, we had a 15-passenger van, and then we canceled it. We canceled it because we had one of our guys, Greg. He had to back out. So
there was just 5 of us.
There was only 5, so we just needed a minivan. So we rented a minivan, and then Alex, when you got to go pick up the minivan,
they rented our minivan from under our feet. So they were like, well, we asked them what our options were because we kind of figured it was like, well, we need something. We need either a big SUV or whatever, right? And they were like, well, we got this 15-passenger Mercedes Sprinter van. And we were like, yes.
Check.
Let's see all the options, but I think we're going to go here. And honestly, it's been really pleasant. We can stand up.
It's pretty fun. It's much taller than I expected it to be.
It's a high roof, for sure.
Yeah, so we're cosplaying van life this weekend.
A
little bit. But no, it's been fun to be in this thing. And like obviously it carries all of our gear and us comfortably. So we thought when we, and we'll get into the reasons why, when we ran out of time to be able to record on the trail, which we obviously would prefer to do, we were like, dude, in the van, we could do an episode in the van. So
especially since we have a
hilarious.
9-hour drive.
We do have a 9-hour drive. So, but this might turn out to be an epic failure. I mean, we think we have the camera pretty stable.
We're using a GoPro this time.
We'll put up a picture of the setup. But you, the audience, are currently seatbelted into the first row of our Mercedes Sprinter van.
So thanks for joining us on this the van ride.
And thanks to Mike, who's driving the van right now and making
Father
us
Mike
very
up
safe.
front.
Thank you so much.
Driving, he's
keeping
our captain.
Keeping us safe.
Don't say anything. You're not allowed to talk. You're not allowed to talk on the podcast. All right. You're not approved for.
Well, where did we go? Did we even say where we went?
I said Adirondacks.
You did say Adirondacks? Okay.
Yeah. So
Adirondacks.
We did go to the Adirondacks, which for the 3 of us, this is Austin's first time, which is super
correct.
Awesome. It's our second time out.
Right.
And we put a little loop together that... How many peaks did we end up hitting? We'll walk through them.
We'll walk through it, but I think we hit like 7.
7.
Yeah. But we'll kind of walk through it. So, and if you watched our 80K trip prep episode,
we get into the details of the trip there.
We definitely get into details, and we talk about like our intended path looks like,
what
the route was, and all that kind of stuff. But
go there. If you want to check that out to get all the details of like the specifics of all of the trip, we highlighted everything and put all that stuff in there. So
definitely,
I think we could just talk a little bit about the trip itself.
We got to our parking lot destination, which was handled by the Adirondack Mountain Reserve. It is a parking lot that does require a permit, where like 90% of the permits are for like more like day hikers, but there are a few reservations for overnight, which we snagged one because we were staying for 3 nights. And so we parked there, and there was a little jaunt down a road where you pass like the Ossable
golf course.
Which was interesting. There's a lot of beautiful homes back there.
What was it called? Was it like a country club or?
It had
do you remember the name of it?
I don't think it was a country club.
Like Mountain Club or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
You walk through it to get to the trailhead.
Yeah.
It was charming.
Yeah. It was really nice.
And we should have taken note by how brown the grass was at the golf course that we learned from the rangers right by the start of our trail. There's a gate that says AMR, which is the Adirondack Mountain Reserve, which is privately owned land that part of our trip was on. Some of the rangers there were like, we were asking about water and all this kind of stuff.
They're like, good luck.
They're like, good luck, because like they're in
none.
like probably the worst drought that he had ever seen since he had
said,
been working
as
there.
of that morning, they had classified it as a severe drought.
Severe drought.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
It had been over 2 weeks without any rain.
So that was an unintended challenge. It was more like,
Required some additional planning.
Yeah, just
with
some more
water.
planning.
A little bit more cameling up.
a little more cautious about our intake.
Because we knew when we were up on the ridge that second day we weren't going to have water anyway.
We knew that from the morning of day 2 to the evening of day 2, we weren't going to have water anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
The difference was now with the drought, we weren't sure whether the camp night on night 2 would have any water
At
'Cause
all.
we were expecting
Right.
that at least we were going to camp at water.
And,
Right.
and have an opportunity for some.
But they were like, yeah, probably not.
Yeah,
You know?
Probably not.
Probably good luck.
Yeah, well, they did say they were like, get it when you can,
Yeah.
when you see it.
Yeah.
So and it ended up being okay.
So so that's where we kind of kicked off the journey and hit the trail. We hiked our way up to, if anybody can remember the name of the camp here, where it was
Wasn't it
at
Wedgebrook?
Wedgebrook
Right.
Camp,
Sounds right.
which is a beautiful little spot. On the way there, we saw we did see some great water and a
did.
little waterfall where we were able to cool off
yeah,
in.
that was nice.
But that was some good hiking, just a little bit of elevation up to that area. But,
It was warm
really
that
nice
day. That
camping.
first
It
day
was very
was
warm.
warm.
It was like 80
Toasty.
degrees.
It was
I was
toasty.
regretting wearing
I
pants.
was in shorts. Yeah. But that
Yeah.
was the last time that that they were busted out.
Yeah.
It was just day 1 for shorts.
Yeah. Once it gets up close to 80, it just gets hard no matter
It's
what
hard.
you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, the elevation wasn't even too intense
Yeah.
yet. I was just sweating.
No, just sweat.
It was
Well, and
brutal.
I always feel that way too. Like when we first get back on the trail and you're hiking for the first time in a few months, like truly hiking with like a heavy
Just gotta
back.
get used
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
It's like-
Acclimating to
yeah,
it.
you got to acclimate to that like weight on your back again. Even if you feel like you can handle it, which you definitely can. It's just it's like that first mile when you're running like a long distance run. It's like, man,
Yeah.
I really hate this for a
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah, why do I do this again?
Right. This is crazy.
Remind
but,
me why this is fun.
Yeah.
yeah. But no, we it quickly adapt back into it. And yeah, we got up to our, we did about 5.5 miles that first day, pretty easy hiking, and
got to camp
our first
early.
camp.
Played some epic hacky sack.
Oh, we did
Yeah,
that
that was
first.
pretty
That
fun.
was
That
the
was the
only time that we
only
played.
time we
Yeah.
I'm
played.
a little disappointed that was the only time.
Our legs
I
didn't
thought for
work.
sure we were going to last
Our
night.
legs didn't
but
work for the
We
last
obviously didn't have a chance last night. So
Yeah, last night we did.
We'll get there.
Yeah. But it was good. That was good camp night. We had a lot of
And
a lot of fun.
water was scarce, but there was water.
We did
It was
find
like
some.
standstill water.
Yeah.
Put the
thank
Catamaran
God
through
for
its
the
paces.
Yeah, our water filters to test. But no, it really wasn't too bad. It was a really nice camp spot. One little disappointing thing about that is like one of the big things we talked about in our trail prep, and we've talked about 80K in the past, is that they don't allow any campfires. And
Right.
although that is a bummer, it is a good rule, and we abide
Especially
by
in a
it.
drought.
Especially
Yeah.
in a
Oh,
drought.
for
Yeah,
sure.
Jeez.
And
Everything
I saw
was
on the
dry.
sign it was the smoky sign coming in where
Yeah.
it was like fire advisory was high.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, no surprises, right? I think
Right.
it was maybe even said severe, right? Like
So that being said, there was a small ring with some gathered campfire wood next to it.
A
and
lot
Like,
of wood.
there was
as-
a ton of wood.
There was a ton of wood there, and it was a little disheartening because it's like clearly people either one are ignoring the rule or just are not aware of the rule,
Which
I'm
is
not
hard.
quite
I
sure.
mean, there's
and
so
Pfeiffer
many.
tried to burn it all.
There,
And we were like, come on, man, what the hell, dude?
Don't lie.
Leave no trace, guy. You got to follow the rules.
There's signs posted everywhere.
If
I
you
mean-
you would really
Yeah.
have to be. You're breaking the rules because you wouldn't miss the sign.
Yeah.
Right. You wouldn't miss a sign. Also, it's not like there's certain
you read the
sections where
trailhead.
it's allowed and others where it's not. It's like it's pretty universal.
Right.
Yeah.
In that entire area, it's just you just
Well,
don't
our
do it.
second camp literally had a sign with the fire
Right.
and an X
An
through
X
it.
through it.
So
Yeah.
like, and it was posted very clearly.
Yeah,
Right.
And listen, ignorance is not,
It's not an
it-
excuse.
it's not.
excuse.
It's not an
You're not
excuse.
innocent to the law just because of your ignorance. So like, they were still people had clearly broken the law. And listen, it was enticing because we were there and we were like, man, how great would it be to have a fire right there?
Yeah.
And
In a little itty bitty one, just some twigs.
we were literally
Right.
Would've been nice,
sitting
but-
around
But-
the non-existent fire
So the
while
thing-
we were like
Right,
cooking
you're
our
right.
food and
The
hanging
thing
out.
we did though, which we've had in the studio on camera,
Plenty of
is
times,
we
yeah.
had the little fire maple lantern, and I've got to say, I'm gonna think about that damn thing for a number of like months because even that single little flame, and I think this is maybe there's a deeper thought here probably, but like the communal aspect of a fire, even if it is just like a little single flame, to me was like
it made a big difference.
It was a huge difference.
It was
made
a
huge difference.
You weren't getting warmth from it, but it
there
was
like
no
warmth.
Oh, it kept us out for an extra like hour and a half.
Yeah, and it was
where
like,
we would have just gone to bed where we did
that
the other
dinky
nights.
little thing just made it like assumed the role of
the fire.
Yeah. And I'm so glad we had it.
And it wasn't hard to carry, right? Like Austin, you carried it. It's fairly light. It's in a plastic container, so it didn't get damaged, like because it's glass.
Yeah, right.
No, it was funny because we placed it right next to the fire ring that somebody else had created. That we weren't using, obviously, because we weren't allowed to. And it's like right next to it's this little candle flame coming out of the fire.
I think I have a picture.
It made a huge difference.
It was a game changer for the nighttime, and I shout out to Fire Maple for creating this thing and like making this thing, because it really did make
maybe
a
not its intended use, but hey, it worked.
I don't know, it could have been, dude.
Honestly,
because why not?
I mean, I know one's getting added to my cart during this. What do we got, like 6.5 hours left? Yeah, I'm buying one on the way home because like that did make a huge difference.
It was cool.
And I've got one too, and it's funny. I like having it at like car camp. We got
to
shift.
Gears shifting back there.
Stuff shifting around on the turn.
We kind of just did throw some shit back there. Like
I got one for car camping, and I love having it, but like it's more like an
ambiance,
like a vibe kind of add, and now I feel a different like meaning to that thing where it's like it's not just a vibe. It's
for sure.
I mean, obviously, if you can have a real fire and you have it on like a picnic bench or whatever, like that's more about the vibe. But in the backpacking setting, like holy shit, like changed my mind on this thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. It was cool.
Yeah, Fire Maple. If you want to send me one,
we got some good pictures of it too. We'll send over.
we do. Yeah, dude. We'll pop some up here in this episode right now.
It was cool. It was cool. Made nighttime, both nights. Made the second night, which was, I mean, we'll get to the snowbird night, but it was freezing, and that thing does not provide any heat.
No,
but
it's
I mean,
not gonna
psychologically,
all
it vibes,
like dude.
Convinces you that you're warmer.
Yeah,
and it was neat.
So, moving on to the next night. So, another funny thing about it, the Rangers were talking about like an extreme drought, and everything looked and felt just really dry. Yeah. Wouldn't you know it? Night one, it rained.
Yeah,
unexpectedly. I didn't think we were going to get rain at all.
That's kind of what sent us into the tents.
I guess,
earlier,
a little
we
earlier.
were sitting around and then felt a drizzle. We're like, wait.
There wasn't supposed to be rain in the forecast. What's going on?
But that's the
mountains
nature
make their own.
Yeah, that's the nature of being up there. Is like every time we've done research, most of the time it's wrong.
Yeah,
or a little bit off. There's always a surprise, so it's
in these like mountainous like areas, you just anything can happen.
They can create their own weather patterns.
And like the temperature can drop quickly, the rain can rip in. Like you got to go expecting
everything.
Anything.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything can
happen. It was perfect because it rained while we were sleeping.
It rained while we were sleeping. It was a nice drizzle. It wasn't like heavy.
No.
And in fact, I felt like in the morning I was like, man, it's still raining, but really that was just water coming off the trees. Yeah. So it was nice.
And pine needles and leaves.
Made everything cool and damp in the morning.
Yeah.
It was definitely cool and damp. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice start to the day.
That's my least favorite thing about backpacking is putting a wet tent away. Especially when it's a little cold, because then your hands are just numb for like 30 minutes.
Well, my problem with it too is like we were like everywhere we were, it was a lot of like, it's a deciduous forest, but there's a lot of evergreen trees, and so like pine needles everywhere. Dude. And so when your tent's wet, it's sticky with pine needles, and so my tent right now is just covered, filthy.
Well, it's funny.
Well, and like Mike and I shared, and we were like wiping it off. He was getting tree branches and like trying to brush it off, but I know like now like the bottom of it especially is just going to be dirt and pine trees. So when I get home, just getting hosed off.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking, Brian, before you'd mentioned hating a wet tent, I was thinking in my mind, I'm like, all right, where am I going to hang the tent in my garage? Because I want it to dry out.
Yeah.
I think mine was dry, though, last night. Or not last night, but the night
dry,
before.
But I like to air it out, like, a little bit after a trip like that, if it gets any sort of moisture.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. It's like, crap, I got to do that piece now, too.
Yeah.
Which,
nice and dirty.
Again, just take care of it, right?
Yeah, take care of your stuff.
Gear maintenance.
Yep.
But yeah, so that day, the start of day 2 was our epic jaunt across the 80K, the range.
Yeah.
Which hits
Upper Wolf Jaw.
Yep.
Armstrong.
Yep.
the Gothics,
which
over to Saddleback, down the Saddleback cliffs,
up basin,
and up basin, and then down basin to our destination. So let's talk about it.
Lifting it out like that is madness.
It was insane.
It was a big day.
It was insane.
Well, and I think seeing it on the other side of it, like when we kind of wrapped around, seeing what we did, that perspective, like that will be burned in my mind. And like we took photographs of it, right?
Yeah, we'll have to throw some up.
Thinking about seeing what we accomplished, that I think is such like a reward of a hard day. Like sometimes like it's just in the past and you don't get to see it, but the loop that we had, we came, swinging back around and seeing it again, mind blowing.
Yeah, for sure.
Like we did that.
Dude, even while we were on the ridge though, doing it,
when
and
we
like
got
we
to
were further out, and we could look back and be like, that
were we there?
Really far away.
It's like that was like an hour ago, and
how are we up over it? That was crazy.
You cover more ground than you think. While we were doing that, I was thinking that I was like, I can't believe it. It really was just an hour we were right there or less. You do cover more ground than you think because you just don't see it from that bird eye view. And you're just in the woods while you're going down a side of a mountain and going back up, so you don't quite you don't see it when you have tree coverage, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like the mountain is in full view of you the entire time. Now, you get peaks of it through the trees while you're doing it, but you don't get the all right, I'm tackling that and I can see it the whole way.
Well,
no, it's a little bit like you're flying blind.
Yeah, where it's like if you see part of the trail, like you look down from one mountain to the next where you're going, and you can't see any of the trail.
No, right.
And then it's like you can't even frame it in your mind where it's like, oh, cool.
It was also...
just over there.
I mean, some of the peaks talking about like how did we get from here to here? I mean, when you're going down like this, and then you're going back up like this.
Right.
So you're like losing elevation really, really fast, and then you're gaining elevation really fast.
Yeah. It's quite a roller coaster for sure.
Section. Wild.
But yeah, so that day was essentially our roller coaster day, and so you start the day off going up Upper Wolf Jaw, which we saw. I will say this, and this was basically a common theme throughout the entire trip. Was we saw a handful of day hikers, and I would say 95% of the people that we saw were all day hikers. It's very common in the area.
If we saw any overnight.
No, well, there was a guy who stayed with us at Snowbird.
Yeah,
it was an overnight.
Right. We didn't see him until we got to camp, though.
Right.
Most people we passed during the day were.
But yeah, and it feels like it's very popular in the 80K to just do the day hikes. Most of the people were trying to tackle the 46 peaks and check them off the
list,
off their list.
Was it one guy we met that he was on 44?
44. He did 44,
and then that other guy was on
29, 26 or
29 was he hit his 29th while we were up. We were on a Sawtooth with him. Yeah, it was Sawtooth.
So yeah, the first day was quite an elevation jaunt up Upper Wolf Jaw, which it was delightful. I mean, challenging, but with the rain the previous night and the cool morning, you could not ask for better temperature for an ascent like that. Because that really was the ascent to get to most of our elevation. Obviously, throughout the day, we're going back down and up, but not all the way back down. So that was a good, 1,500 feet of elevation gain.
It was a lot.
I feel like the energy level we had throughout that entire day was just high the entire time.
Yeah.
Yesterday...
there was no reprieve.
I think the second day that we had the really hard day where it was 6 miles. What was it? 4,000 feet of elevation gain. 5,000 feet of elevation gain.
Yeah.
I feel like because we had a lot of peaks that we were hitting in between each
throughout
time,
the entire
it was
day.
okay, cool. So you do this really hard thing, and then there's this huge payoff at the end. Where the day, yesterday, was really difficult. It was just a huge incline with a little bit of a view up at the top.
Yeah.
But then coming down, then we get a big payoff. So it was just I felt like the days were very different.
They're very different.
But they each packed
great
their own
in different
thing.
ways. Great in different ways.
The Gothic day was
very, very hard.
Very peak heavy. It was just bam, 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 bam.
And I think those peaks certainly keep you motivated, but also knowing kind of what to expect up ahead, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
That's even that long. Our day after the peak day was also. I mean, it was longer from a mile perspective, but.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. So the day this first main day where we went through Gothics. So it was 9 hours of hiking to cover 6 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, if you ever go to 80K, so Adirondacks, especially if you've been backpacking before, maybe you kind of know how fast you are, and you've never been to Adirondacks.
Don't bite
Cut
off
your
more than you
speed
can
in
chew.
half. Like whatever you
At
think
least.
you're going to go, cut it in half. If you average a couple miles an hour,
plan
for one, because it is
because again, like
brutally
the
hard.
9 hours in over the 6 hours, it's mainly due to just like there's a lot of technical
climbing
around it. There were moments where you're like, you have to think about it, and I kind of love the puzzle piece.
It's insanely fun.
You have to figure it out, and there were a couple points where we were like pretty nerve-wracking. So like, let's talk about some specific areas. So like, for like getting up to Upper Wolfjaw, down, and then up to Armstrong, I would say for the most part challenging, but fairly very doable. Very doable, right?
There was
nothing
like
too complicated.
Big steps, big boulder steps. There was a lot of root systems and stuff like that were fairly reliable. I don't even like to rely on roots or anything like that because you never know. Those could be slippery. They could be super weak or whatever.
But lots of trees
they
to
were
hang on to
fairly
and,
strong to grab.
Yeah, for sure.
It was.
But
just
big steps
climbing.
up. Nothing crazy slab.
And then going
blank slabs.
Right, and then going from Armstrong to Gothics, honestly, was probably the easiest between peaks.
It was shocked.
It wasn't challenging because I was shocked too because I was like, everyone talks about the Gothics being difficult.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Going from
the
that
other
side.
It was the other side. So famously, the other side of the Gothics have chains that go for probably like, there's a pretty bare side, and most of the way down there is a decent amount of
pretty
chains.
blank.
It's a slab, dude.
It's
a sheer slab.
And that's why they put it there to hinder yourself. But I will be honest, it is not super helpful going down. You almost have to and I saw a couple of you guys did this because I was taking the lead on this.
Down.
You have to backwards rappel down.
Yeah.
When I first started it, I was just kind of holding on, and it was awkward to hold on to, and I kind of slipped, and I was like, this is not even worth it.
I agree.
Yeah,
so I kind of just used it for me as a safety when I was going down. But,
that's what I did. I just walked down, but I knew I had it there if I needed it. Because it was it's heavy and it was kind of cumbersome.
A heavy chain.
I think just wrapping down was really nice. It was pretty
there were
easy.
sections were just rappelling.
Yeah.
I could definitely see it being way more helpful though going up.
Going up.
Absolutely, you can
pull
pull on it. It was great.
Yeah.
So that was interesting and different. Hadn't really experienced anything like that before, but that was cool.
But that whole with the sections with the chains and then all of the sections without, it's just steep down slabs, and the whole time we were just saying, trust your boots. Because you're just trying to get as much surface area of your boots on the rock as possible.
And that wasn't terrible. No one really slipped. I think we were all pretty grippy.
You just had to be really thoughtful and careful about.
And I think
for sure
when we had originally our last trip researched this, I think we talked about the Gothics being the thing.
Right.
And I think what actually became the thing was the Saddleback Cliffs, which was what hit after.
Yeah. So Gothics came down there and going up Saddleback, not too super complicated. Saddleback was
just
a
gorgeous
pretty good top.
Climb up.
Yeah.
Saddleback had a gorgeous top. Gothics.
Great.
Oh, by the way, when we got to the top of Gothics, we had lunch there. There were other groups there that we met. We got to talk to.
We saw the bald eagles on top of Gothics.
We saw a couple bald eagles when we were on top of the
Yeah.
Gothics. So that was a cool moment to chill, have some lunch. We talked to some folks. We met these dudes who are college buddies, and once a year they go out and backpack. And so we kind of talked to them about their trips and everything like that. So that was
everyone
cool.
we met and spoke with and stuff like that
so
was
awesome.
was so great.
Yeah.
Everyone was super nice and really kind of wanting to talk and hang out.
That
it was
first
a cool
night,
vibe.
I forget her name, and
She was French Canadian. She's from Quebec.
She's from Quebec.
What was it, Mike? Scream it.
L'Oreal.
Like the shampoo.
She was-
L'Oreal.
She came down
She was freaked out.
She was a
dude.
badass.
She was really happy to
She was
see
so
us.
happy. She's like, I found
It
somebody.
was
Yeah.
6 hours. She hadn't seen anybody.
Yeah, she hadn't seen a human all day.
And she was a solo hiker. She was doing a big jaunt too.
We got
us
And
in
I think
water.
She
was
walked
ready.
right, just popped
was
herself down
humping
at
it.
her spot. She's like, hey guys.
Please. Yeah,
Please.
she's like, I'm so happy to just
Please
see people.
hang.
She needed a break. That was really great.
What I
We gave her
also
some
learned
water.
there, I also learned there when we were at the Gothics talking to those guys that a lot of the people that we met stay at this place called the St. James Lodge. Was that the name of it?
St. John's?
St. John's Lodge.
Yeah.
There's a lodge somewhere,
and it seems like that was a popular place for folks to use as base camp while they go do day hikes of the Adirondacks. Try to hit the 46 peaks. Which
that is a really popular thing for people to do. Is they base camp it up, and then they go out from either north, south, east, or west, depending on where they are.
I want to talk about that a little later.
We
in this
will.
episode,
We will for
I
sure because that makes it
continue,
a big deal. What we're doing now.
I've already been thinking about future plans. So all right. So going up the Saddleback. Saddleback was gorgeous. Coming down Saddleback is what's famously called the Saddleback Cliffs, and holy smokes!
I mean,
It looked like you were walking off the face
cliffs.
of the earth.
So looking over, we're on the top, we're on the peak, beautiful view, whatever. And it's like, okay, look out for the yellow markers on the rock. So up there's no trees to put badges on, so there's just painted markers on the rock. And you see a marker that's just with an arrow pointing off the cliff. And it's just like, go that way.
It's a little unnerving.
It was so. I looked at it and I said, "There's no way."
There's no way.
So we kept like walking around and seeing if there were other yellow markers, and I was like, "Well, it doesn't even matter. None of these places are safe for you to go off of. I guess it's this." And so the key is that from what we read in the research that we've done before is to keep looking for the yellow painted marks because the badges or the trail markers on the trees during this entire route, I think they actually do call this the 80K range trail, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong. Correct me if not.
I think it's part of the Grand Loop, right?
But it is. But like the trail is called like the 80K range trail. Yellow markers, yellow trail markers the entire way. At this point, because there's no trees, it's all paint. So everybody says like just pay attention to the yellow markers. Now that's really great when you're coming up Saddleback.
Yeah.
But going down Saddleback, they're not always in a place where you can see them from up top. So it was a little more challenging because there was definitely one route that we all took that was probably the wrong way. I remember like shimmying underneath this really flat, like big rock that was leaned up against one of the side of the cliff.
Yeah, it's like you said to like lean your whole body.
Yeah, you had to like kind of scrape yourself in.
Corridor. Yeah.
There was one huge drop that definitely we all need like assistance on, like hand holding assistance. While we were coming down, there was a woman hiker coming up, solo hiker coming up, and she's like, "Where do you go?" And we're like, "We don't know either."
It was like a 5 or 6 foot slab.
Yeah, just it was a huge slab. And honestly, like, not because she didn't have physical ability or anything like that, but like,
it's just too tall.
We helped her get up that cliff, and I mean, just maybe she would have found a different way, but like, she definitely wouldn't have been able to get up that cliff without our help. And honestly, like, we were dropping packs, handing them to each other at certain points. Like,
how may I help you?
Stop it, Siri. We don't want you.
We don't need your help.
But yeah, it was.
I'm
cool.
sorry. Can you say that again, please?
No. I don't know if it's coming through the mics or not. But
I don't know. They could probably hear it a little bit.
Siri is interrupting us.
Anyways,
I'm sorry.
She's going to go on again.
I can't help you with that right now.
What is going on?
We don't need help. Thank you.
We don't need help, Siri.
We love you.
All right. So, anyways, Saddleback Cliffs, epic, fun, scary, challenging.
Awesome. I think
best
that was my favorite part of the whole trip because I love, and I was telling Fife this when we were kind of going up some of these sections where we had like bigger drops where there's huge boulders and there's like big like kind of jugs you can grab or just like grabbing it made me feel like we were kind of climbing again a little bit where it's like technical going down, technical going up, like being able to really just pull yourself up, like that part of it, that was the most fun for me.
Yeah, I agree.
That second day because of the technicality of how and what we were doing.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, and there's technical footing, which was everything that we did across the entire weekend was like you have to put each foot in its place or you're going to trip and you can hurt yourself. But when it incorporates
being able to
your
like
whole
grab
body,
your
like,
grab the rock and pull it in,
even like the going through that slab where that little corridor piece, it's like you're using your entire
you just kind of wedge a little bit.
You're leaning up against you, you're pulling yourself through.
Dude.
Well, and like every little
favorite
detail matters, which I think is kind of cool. Like, I mean, there were plenty of moments across the entire trip where the footing mattered, but like the Saddleback piece specifically, like even that tight spot, like you really had to be mindful.
Use your whole body.
And it was that I really enjoy that piece.
I agree.
I'm with you on that.
I agree. It also like when I was saying this on the trail, it's kind of like chess. You got to think like 2 or 3 moves ahead.
Yeah.
And so you have to be very mindful. It also kind of like keeps the physical challenge or like any kind of exhaustion or soreness that you have kind of out of mind because you do have to focus mentally. And that's where I think things switch for the next day when we get there. Why I think it's like so different and opposite of what we did on Friday. But yeah, so like after those Saddleback Cliffs, you have to go down and then back up Basin. I remember that being pretty.
Basin
that was
rough.
kicking butt.
I remember going down Basin. That's when I tweaked my knee.
Same. You and I had.
It almost had. Maybe it was like the same section. But like I remember like going like
the knee butt.
My knees just like it is burning right now. And then like it wasn't too long after you're like, shit, my right knee hurts.
No.
And that was
no.
halfway through the trip when we were the farthest we could possibly be.
I
from
know,
the car.
right?
Like my knee starts.
I
to
mean,
hurt
it wasn't a trip bailing kind of thing or anything, but it was an annoyance, and it
just hurt
factored into some, not even injuries, but other complications yesterday. But
So and that was that up and down basin was pretty difficult. Plus, the day's long, you're exhausted. You start being a little less cautious and going a little too fast, a little sloppy hiking. But I think overall, though, we did so well and crushed the day. So
we really did. That day was solid.
So again, we were talking about water a little bit before. We kind of skipped over this part. So like the ranger said there might not be water at Snowbird. So to prepare for that, we really cameled up at our first camp before we left. And so we were carrying a lot of water, and we were
3 liters apiece at least.
At least 3 liters apiece.
And we rationed.
We were rationing, and that was,
that sucked.
It's
but
more
the weather
fun.
was good for that.
The weather was good for
it. If it was the day before weather, we would have been out of water like halfway through. I feel like.
Yeah. So like my plan was like I had 1 liter with electrolytes, 1 just water to hopefully use for like food the next day, and then kind of like 1 liter for an emergency backup. Fortunately, when we were real close to Snowbird, we did find some water, and we were like, hell yeah, let's get it now.
We cameled up
pretty hard, drank a lot while we were there, and then when we got up to Snowbird, there was some water by there too. So thankfully, and I don't know if it was from the rain night before, but possibly
we just got lucky, right?
Or we just got lucky.
A little bit of both.
It's funny. I think about rationing water. Rationing water is so much easier when the weather is temperate.
Yeah.
So like when Allison and I did the red 2 years ago, and it was like 90 degrees, and we had to ration water, that stunk.
Yeah.
This was actually like, I mean, hiking when it was like 60 to 70 degrees. I mean, don't get me wrong, rationing kind of sucks because I just want to be.
You want to be able to guzzle if you want.
But it was much easier when the weather was more friendly, and I don't know, it just didn't suck as bad.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Yeah, it was different because we hadn't done a ton of rationing before water, but you just had to be conscious about every gulp that you took. I kind of used the peaks as a reward to splash some electrolytes down.
And I was trying to be really, really tight because I think I ended the day with like
you had more than 2 liters left, which
2.5 liters.
That's crazy.
I was just bare, like just wetting the whistle,
taking a little bit,
just
a little bit at a time.
That's pretty good. But yeah, so we got to Snowbird, and it was cold. It was there were some decently flat areas at that one. Not a real comfortable place to camp. It wasn't like a lot of logs to sit on, anything like that. It was definitely for efficiency, and it was really cold.
It was cold.
It was cold.
It definitely got cold that night.
A little shivery.
Which
but
Snowbird, that's our second time at Snowbird, and that I feel like that place is just consistently cold all the time because it's buried in between a few peaks, so the sun only really ever hits it.
The sun does go away pretty quick.
And then, so sunset for Snowbird is at 4 in the afternoon or something.
Right. You could feel and see the darkness when you started approaching it. You're like, this hasn't had sunlight for 2 hours. It's not going to have sunlight until tomorrow at 11 a.m. So
it was cold.
I had my long sleeve pajama top on. Then I had my base layer North Face Summit series
all
hoodie on, and then I had my puffy on with a hat. I don't think I'd ever layered up like that before on a trip.
It was a bit chilly.
It makes for an early in the tent night.
But I tell you what, we still hung out by the fire maple. The fire maple did its thing, and we were laughing so hard because we kept getting closer and closer to the fire maple. It does not give any heat.
No,
it's just that perception.
We were like standing on top.
We were. We were like. It was body heat that we were getting from each other. I feel like not actual heat from the fire maple, obviously, but the glow was nice. It kept us up for a little bit longer and hung out. And got to have some good times.
It kept the vibe alive. It was like we had a campfire without having a campfire. Yeah,
that was nice.
That night we also decided to make an alteration to our route. So the next day was basically going to be a little over 10 miles with the same elevation gain that we did the day before. So not as much, like it's at the same elevation over double distance.
Longer periods of time.
That being said, we would have had just
we would have
way
been hiking
too far
for 13 to
of a
15
day.
It would have been a really long day.
Here's the thing: the Adirondacks are relentless.
Yes.
And they are unforgiving, and it's hard to gauge
speed
and elevation and distance in that place. You kind of throw all logic out the window. You can't just look at a map and look at your timing and your mileage and your elevation and predict how it's going to go. And based on how the first day went, we hiked for hours longer than we thought we would.
Yeah.
If we would have kept our route the same, I mean, we would
still be hiking.
Right, 13 or 15, we'd still be hiking.
I think the thing to remember about the Adirondacks, and this is where, like, I think about, the one long day we had coming up to Sawteeth, like, we moved pretty quick on it because it wasn't rock climbing, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing when you consider the Adirondacks and, like, you look at your elevation and you think, oh, cool, 4,000 feet elevation in a day, not terrible, whatever, over no matter whatever the mileage is, but it's the consistent up and down, up and down, up and down. But then every single one of those up and downs is not just like dirt on the trail. It's like you're rock climbing, you're grabbing things to pull yourself up. You're using ladders.
It takes a second more to figure out
so much
where to
more
put your feet.
difficult, per step.
Right.
That it just takes time.
Little mini puzzles you got to work through.
Yeah.
So we decided to lop off. We didn't lop off a ton, but we lopped off a lot of elevation.
Yeah.
Right in the morning.
So we decided to skip climbing Haystack in the morning.
Little Haystack and
into Haystack. So that's what we decided to do, and that cut off a good 1,000 feet of elevation in probably a good 2 to 3 hours of hiking.
I would say 2 hours for sure.
Yeah, definitely 2 hours.
Absolutely.
And so, although that's a bummer and probably would have been a highlight of the trip, I think it was a necessity in order to do that. So instead, we came down off of Snowbird at the bottom of Basin.
We just picked up the trail where we would have.
Picked up the trail that was around, at the bottom of Haystack, and then climbed Sawteeth.
Yeah.
Now, this climb was different than anything else we had done the entire trip. It was a lot of soft soil mixed with pine needles and not a lot of boulders and rocky areas.
Just steep dirt. 45, 50 degrees steep up.
Well, and it
took us 2 hours.
It took us 2 hours. And what was interesting, though, is because a lot of it was it was flat in the beginning. And the whole time we weren't getting a lot of elevation, I was like, I know we have to go up.
Yeah, it's coming.
And when it comes, it's going to be tough.
It's going to be brutal.
And it was relentless.
My least favorite climb.
I think me too. And I know that Mike has a different perspective on this because he liked just being able to put his head down and just go up. I think not thinking about the technical climbing kind of gets to me. When I'm just
to me.
All right, up again. We're just walking. We're just walking.
You got to find a place to put
the
your
variety
head.
Helps me in my pain cave. Going in and really going hard into
the
it.
variety. I like the rocks more, but I kind of enjoy going up more than I do going down.
Oh, for sure.
I
love
I'm
going
kind
up.
of in the situation where it's I didn't mind that at all. I was good. I mean, it was a little boring, but it was boring only because of the length, right? It was straight
really,
up,
really long.
2 hours of going up.
Gotta,
it just became a little arduous.
I don't think we had any views going up either. I think we were just straight up in the forest.
That was the other part of it is that you could not see Sawteeth at all while hiking it. So you're kind of hiking blind.
Yeah,
you're not seeing where you're going, knowing that eventually we're going to get to a
there,
peak.
it's going to be sweet. Yeah.
And
a lot of
times.
times.
It was
well, a lot of times, but you're coming out into the Alpine zone and you kind of see, okay, things are going to get juicy. In that one, up to Sawteeth from that side, it was just very well, when we get there, we get there.
Yeah. When we get there, we get there.
Right.
That's right.
But it was good. We had
lunch on top.
Lunch on top of Sawteeth.
Sure did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did we see more? Did we meet some other folks on Sawteeth?
We did meet some other folks. Yeah.
They were group photo action.
Yeah, a little family, and they were. They took photos of us. Yeah, we'll pop it up there. But yeah, they were super nice, and they were hitting the peaks. We saw them again later on.
Oh, that's right. It was the guy who was
the 29th.
He had done his 29th. He was taking his kids out.
So Sawteeth was strenuous hike up on the way down, although tough, and a couple challenges that we'll talk about. Some of the best views of the day were, or the whole trip, were coming down off the side of Sawteeth. So if you happen to be looking on the map, all trails or otherwise, you'll see these Outlook number 5, Outlook number 4, and they actually had them labeled on the side of the mountain. and they looked out to Audible Lake and to kind of where we were hiking down. And so that was pretty cool.
Because of the weather was so perfect, like every shot of the lake is just like glimmering water.
Yeah.
And it just
beautiful. Those approach shots to
kind
of see the Audible Lake was really cool.
When we were doing a little bit of research on the path down in Sawtooth, we saw that some of the grade coming down was like negative 70%, 80.
Yeah.
Well, it made sense when we came across like a dozen ladders.
Yeah,
so
dude.
some of the parts
Shoot
of the
some
80K have these ladders that are like bolted into the rock.
Yeah.
Which I'm all about. I love the
ladders.
ladders.
The ladders
honestly,
were great. Fun.
There was
a couple
janky ones that was really steep.
There was one that definitely had some rotting wood right near the top. You had to be real careful.
Yeah.
There was another one that was like 40 rungs, and it was like
long.
steep.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
I enjoyed the ladders.
Yeah,
but it was fun. Yeah,
it's like a fun challenge though. It's kind of like a game, right?
Yeah.
It's like playing. It's like being in what is that Nickelodeon Spill Your Guts, where they're like climbing the mountain and shit. Like, there's just like some cool challenges. Right?
Guts.
Yeah.
It's always, and I know
The
we kind of
crag.
we went in I think the opposite direction of our loop was kind of opposite what people normally do. Instead of going, up Saddleback, we went down. We went in a different direction. So we were entering every ladder from the top.
Yeah.
Yes.
Getting
Pretty much,
onto a ladder from the top.
We only did one ladder going up, I think, the whole trip.
And
So
it was like
the
5
rungs.
the beginning
Really
of
early
the one
on,
day. Yeah.
It's just always more nerve-wracking being on top of a ladder looking down and trying to
you've got a
mount it and
30-pound
go
tack
down.
on,
Turn your
and
body
you're
around.
turning yourself
Yeah.
on a slab of rock.
It's like,
It's a little unnerving.
A lot could go wrong.
So, but the ladders are fun, and that's I think where a lot of that like grade came from. And when I love the ladders too, because you delete like a pretty
you lose like
decent
30
amount
feet
of
at a time.
elevation.
elevation.
Yeah, that was
so
great.
rather than going like this, you're just deleting elevation. So that was cool. There was one moment where like I was in the lead and Mike was right behind me, and I started to like figure out this down part where there were a couple ways that you could go, because you just found a couple places like that coming down where you need to like math it out, puzzle it out. And while I'm like on this rock where I was trying to figure out where to go, Mike just yells out, he's like, "Yellow Jackets! There's a Yellow Jackets nest!" And I'm like, "What the?" And so I like
they were like
off.
I saw where they were all going in. They were
dozens.
a lot in like the side of the mountain, and this big hole was about like that.
And it was about 5 feet from where you had to enter
and it was
into
wild.
this channel going down the rock.
It was right where you need to figure it out.
Yeah.
So we like backed up and we're like, okay, we need to game plan this before we go. And to the left,
we just
left
jumped
part,
all the way down.
Yeah, it was like basically like rock that you can like slide down, and we just like shimmied down, and then we're fine.
Yeah.
So it
One at
wasn't
a
too
time.
like. Once you sat back and just looked at it, it wasn't too challenging.
fun.
But the fact that they were
But
like
just
Yellow
you're
Jackets,
just
you're
like-
like, I don't want to get stuck on this at all.
Yeah, but even that, just walking that close to a very active Yellow Jackets nest, trying to ignore them,
Trying to ignore
because
them,
you know you
right.
have to step, and you can't like rush and mess up, or you're gonna fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that
it was
a weird little
what
balance.
9 feet tall. That
Yeah,
slab.
Yeah.
I mean, there was certainly a margin for error, and I think that's
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff we did. Like, you wouldn't be like totally wrecked for the day if you completely fell, but like you'd be hurt. It would.
I don't know. Some of them it was like it depending on how you fell.
Were very high.
And it's also
because,
like it's not like it lands and it's perfectly flat, and then you just enter a meadow.
That's the
and
problem.
There's other
right?
rocks.
You're just
There's
gonna
other
keep
rocks
going,
and stuff. So if
you
you
know?
fall and you're
Right.
head in, first down, you could
momentum's
just
gonna
run
keep you
head onto the
going.
boulder.
Crush
Yeah.
yourself.
I mean,
That's
it's just,
no good.
If you're climbing down off a rock, you're probably landing on a rock. Like,
Right.
That's how it
Right.
works. It's not
Right.
like just
Another
soft
rock that's
soil.
still slanted down. That's just
Yeah.
gonna launch you further.
Yeah.
So
Nice
it's
little
not, there's
pillow
not
at
there's
the
not a lot
bottom.
of good landing zones for your body.
No.
So, but yeah, so we made our way down Sawteeth. We'll pop in some of the outlook photos because some of the views that we got from there were beautiful. And
Nutso.
that was kind of expected. Just I knew that this was a path that I didn't want to skip over because it was going to be great, and it ended up being really nice. We got down the last part. One of the last parts of our day was hiking alongside Audible. Nice, easy pace.
Yeah, it was a little
flat
different than I
land.
thought it was. It was flatter
Along the river?
but it wasn't like we were like on the water. There was
No.
like a
You're on a hillside.
a
A little bit of a
hillside.
hill.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like it wasn't like you could like easily go down and like brush
Yeah.
water up or grab, but like it
There
was
were
a
spots of it,
far.
but
there
it
I
were
was
spots.
kind of
entirely next to
anticipating
Yeah.
that part of the trail to be really like super like almost
Like,
paved.
yeah,
Because it
yeah.
was so close
Almost
to like
kind
the
of like
boathouse.
beach.
Like kind of
Yeah.
like just a very
Yeah.
like
Yeah, it was not. It was very
Well,
rocky
reality
still.
is that trail, but it really wasn't.
It goes like this until it hits water, and then
Yeah.
it's water. So
Yeah.
you're on this
Yeah.
slant,
Right.
for
But it was
the
cool.
entire
And it's
time.
about a mile, like around that part, to get to get to the dam, and at that point we made some decisions. So
we still technically we still had Rainbow Falls to hit and Indian Head to hit at that point, and it was
Rainbow Falls. We heard was not falling, like dry.
We found out afterward was wrong.
A false rumor.
Unfortunately.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that right?
But I think it was still the right call because it was a timing factor at this point. We had already cut off the haystacks because we knew the hiking was slower than we anticipated.
The day was just
and
we ran out of
now
hours.
we were deciding about Rainbow Falls and Indian Head, and we had other things to factor in. So I know the three of us went up Indian Head.
Yeah, so Mike and Brian decided
we went around it.
We went around.
Went around Indian Head. My legs at that point were I like I said, I tweaked my right knee going down. What was it again?
What?
Basin.
Basin.
Going up Basin, and then going down Sawteeth. As I was bending down to move my left leg down to another step below a boulder, my right knee gave out, and then my left knee went right into a boulder.
So now both knees are
Whammo.
It was like a microsecond where I was like, did I just break my kneecap right now? I didn't. It was fine.
Yeah.
But there was a second where I paused. I'm like, this you gotta be kidding me right now. For real. But my legs were trash, and I was like, I saw what I wanted to see. I could see it from where we were, the approach going down. I'm good. I'm gonna go around with.
And
Mike.
it was the same mileage, it's just less elevation. And Brian Pfeiffer, Alex, and I decided to do Indian Head, and so we took off. I weirdly got a jolt of energy and felt really, really fresh.
Yeah, it felt like we were going to finish the trail for the day.
We made it up,
so that felt
fast.
good.
Yeah. And when we got to the top, unexpectedly, the best views and the best sceneries,
pure magic
that we had all weekend.
Yeah. So I mean, you're on this little rock outcropping that's just overlooking Ossable Lake, looking down it. So our views so far had been kind of on the side of it, looking at it, and almost perpendicular. This is just looking straight down the barrel, right into where the sun will eventually set.
Right.
And then off to our right was everywhere we had been over the past day and a half.
Which was cool because you could kind of be like, oh, we were there 24 hours ago.
Right.
Yeah.
We were there yesterday.
You're seeing the tips of Gothic. You're seeing the Armstrong. You're seeing
Lower
Wolf Jaw, and you can kind of trace where the ridge you went over the entire.
Seeing where we were,
it was pretty insane,
and what we had accomplished. That part for me is mind-boggling.
It's an odd perspective,
and you could tell that spot is hugely popular. People drive there.
It's
go
fairly
up
close
and
to a trailhead.
It's There were everyone we saw was just had driven in. They're doing a hike up, look at the views, and hike back down.
Yeah,
a couple wannabe influencers on top.
There was some of that going on for sure.
Maybe they were influencers though. They might not be wannabes.
Maybe they were
exactly.
Yeah,
whatever.
They were doing some interesting photos.
Dude, it was just the girl was doing these poses and the boyfriend or whoever was taking the pictures, and she was mad at him for, why didn't you tell me this looked so bad? And it just, hurt my heart.
It was an interesting.
Are you here to enjoy this or just take pictures of yourself?
Yeah.
But it was gorgeous. It was a fun,
special
unexpected view of the trip.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's if you look up ADK and there's a lake in the picture, it's 99% this. It's a really popular place to take photos and post it. So, and there's a reason why. It's gorgeous.
And then we mentioned Rainbow Falls, but when we made that decision to split up, we also decided to skip Rainbow Falls because it was a little bit further out and back than we thought.
Yeah, so it would have added another mile with a little bit of elevation, we've already had such a long day.
Yeah.
So we decided after Indian Head to meet these guys up at a certain point, which would have been about a half a mile to where we were supposed to camp.
We met you below Indian Head.
Yeah, just at the junction.
But while we were doing that, Mike and I went into the trail again, where we were eventually going to hike out
to camp.
To camp today, actually. We went and scout out. We were like, well, we're going to beat them to it.
Yeah.
They're going to take a little bit longer, so we're going to go grab the campsite.
Yeah.
We get to the first campsite where Austin had proposed camp for that night, and there was a dude there already. It was a fairly small spot. He was hammocking. He had his hammock over probably the flattest area. It was his spot. But he's like, hey, you can squeeze in if you want, but we had 3 tents.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't going to work. We could get 1 in there for sure, maybe 2, but the 2 was like on a huge slant with roots and stuff. It wasn't great.
Right.
So we're like, okay, no worries. There's like another quarter mile down. There's a spot that has 2 camp spots, one in the front, one in the back. It's like, that's got to be good. So Mike and I are walking down, and we approach the section, and there are four tents already in this little spot. Not little spot, it was a pretty big spot. But it looked like what they did was they came in, they set up their camp. They had like chairs and stuff like that there too. No one was at camp. So what they were doing is they were
So you stole all their oatmeal cream pies.
We stole everything. Just
and
kidding.
Snacks.
No, what they were doing is they set up a base camp, and they went out, and where they were was a really good spot because you could hit a few different ranges from one direction or the other.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel like when people were camping and doing that kind of thing, that's what a lot of them were going to be doing.
Yeah.
Which made it easier day for them because they're not having to carry 35 pounds on their back.
Yeah.
No, it's
all set up.
definitely a
It's a
smart.
move.
It's a move that I want to actually eventually do, but no. So,
But it made camping impossible for us.
yeah, no, it
nowhere
was
to go.
impossible, and that was a huge heartbreak. One, because we had been hiking for like over 12 or 11 hours at that point.
Yeah.
10, 11 hours at that point, and all you want to do, like all we were thinking about when we were coming down
Getting the
Indiana, I was
Crocs
like,
on.
I can't wait for my peak refuel biscuits and gravy. I can't wait to put my Crocs on.
Yeah.
All this stuff, and it's just immediately we're like, oh shit, we have to make a decision right now.
3 more miles.
And
to
really,
the car.
there was only one decision.
And that was 3 miles back to the car.
Yeah.
Pop in and try to find a hotel for the night.
It was
Which is what we
the
did.
only other option, which really wasn't an option, was hike further out of the way.
It'd been like
to
another mile and a half.
maybe find a campsite that might have a spot.
There was
Right.
another campsite on the map, but again, like if
It's
we
like-
were to have done that and there was nothing available, we would have had to gone 4.5 miles back
to the
after
car.
doing a mile.
I would have.
Yeah.
Which have added 5.5 miles already.
I
Yeah.
think 80%, like that would have been taken. That's just knowing that area over there, like how many people were kind of going and doing that. There's no way that
and it
other
would have made
further
the
spot
next,
wasn't
the next
taken.
hike out, which would have been this morning.
Would have been
for
way
us.
further.
It would have been
more
miserable.
difficult, yeah.
So, nope, it was a heartbreaker. The right decision.
We wouldn't even be on
Yeah.
the road home yet.
No.
Right
But you
now.
know what? It ended up being okay because we got a hotel in Lake
did.
Placid last night.
Yeah.
Hotel was good. We went out and, in my opinion, had the best post-trail meal
was
period
insane.
ever. Pickled pig,
Pickled
right?
pig, Lake Placid.
Holy
The Pickle Pig in Lake Placid
was
definitely
awesome.
gets a huge shout out. It was unbelievable.
bonkers good.
Yeah.
Delicious food.
Our dude
Delicious food.
Augie, who served us and spilled water all over the place.
Oh, Augie.
Not on us.
Not on us.
Augie was the man. He's from Serbia. He was a server, our server. He
Yeah,
was the man.
he was awesome.
A lot of fun.
They have the
burgers
hottest
were
mild
amazing.
sauce you've ever seen, you've ever experienced in your
For
life.
real.
So
It almost seemed like a practical joke.
I think it might have been a practical joke.
because he was like, "This is mild and this is medium, but they're more like hot and
And
super
extremely hot.
the mild burned
Yeah.
my
And
face
dude,
off.
it was.
It was hot.
But
insanity.
The
Yeah.
wings were great. Wings
were good.
They what do they do?
Oh, they smoked them.
They smoked
smoked
them.
them.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm looking for. Smoke. They smoke them there.
Smoke wings.
They were
homemade
fantastic.
sauce.
The sauce was really good. It was really hot.
It's too hot. I
They
couldn't
made
do it.
their own ranch in house.
Yeah.
That was really good with it.
Yeah,
the
the ranch was
burger,
good.
Dude,
the
a couple of
crack
us got
burger.
the crack burger.
Yeah.
Dude, it was like crack, bro.
Oh, it was so. And I don't like onions. This had like
I'm gonna
caramelized
switch. I have to
onions.
switch
Dude,
seats
it was
here.
so good.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah, I got the crack burger. I got the carnivore burger because, of course,
Naturally.
and
Dude,
it had every piece of meat you could think of on
That
that
thing
thing.
burger was
insane.
ridiculous.
It was like a turducken burger.
Yeah.
it was fantastic.
Oh my
So
god.
insane. But
It
no,
was like
big shout
4
out to that
sandwiches
place.
in one.
It was huge,
Yeah.
dude. But
It
it
was
was
great.
dude,
Bonkers
slammed it.
good.
Not a morsel of food left over.
But yeah, so I mean, we're walking down. We're in Lake Placid, so we got the hotel. We're walking down the street. You freaked out because we
Oh
walked
my
right
God.
by
Herb
whatever-
Brooks Arena.
There you go.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
where the
so
miracle
we're
happened.
right across the street.
yeah, right
from-
across the
love
street.
it.
You
Right
literally
across
see it
from it.
outside the
Yeah,
window
yeah.
of the pig.
Yeah, it was a really cool place.
So
Very cool
cool.
place.
Go USA.
I love Lake Placid area.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I want to move to Lake Placid.
it's cool.
And I said that when we got back from Maine. I was like, I want to move to Maine. Like that Bar
and
Harbor
we said,
area.
we
I was
said
like,
that in Wyoming too. We're
I-
like, I'm gonna live in Jackson Hole.
Jackson Hole. Would live in Jackson Hole.
Oh my
Also
God.
charming.
We're gonna have houses all over the place.
I guess so.
Yeah,
But
it was-
no,
it was
what
pretty
a
awesome.
crazy, insane trip. Extremely difficult. Really, really fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got out and did it. I think we all had a really good time.
And actually, we'll do a shout out when we got to the van after road marching basically for 3.5 miles to get back. got to meet up with Eric.
Oh yeah,
pretty cool
Eric.
dude.
New listener, Eric.
So hopefully he's listening right now. You should comment if you are, buddy. Which he was out taking some Boy Scouts and taking I think some family too out into the Adirondacks. He lived.
Yeah, I think they
nearby.
did like 14 miles or
yeah,
something.
They did a lot of
they
covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. People we met out were just awesome.
A lot of fun
Everybody
to
out
talk
there was
to.
really great.
So final thoughts. We can go around the horn. I'll give my final thoughts. My first time being in 80K, I not only fell in love with the mountains and the trails, but the area of upstate New York, Adirondacks in general. Like even just driving through and from. I'm in love with this place. Like, it's gorgeous. I love the towns. I could see myself visiting here, not only just for backpacking, but with my family. And also, that being said, game planning for the future, because I do want to come back here. I think that this is a place that makes the most sense to base camp and day hike. Yeah. I was pretty jealous of the pack size of everybody else that we ran into. But I also But I also think it makes the most sense when you're trying to hit multiple peaks at a fast pace, because you can be light on your feet, you can be nimble, and you can delete stuff quicker. And I think that that's going to be, when we come back eventually, not if, when we come back, how we're going to game plan this. So,
I agree.
And whether that's just finding a place to camp overnight, finding the lodge, doing a cabin, I don't know. I'd rather be out there in nature and do the day hikes and come back, but we'll see what makes the most sense depending on what peaks we need to hit.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts on that. Lovely trip.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this being my second time, it's just such a special place. It's crazy. And that it's on this side, I guess sort of our side of the U.S., it's well within reach of us driving out, and the variety you get and everything. But the first time we came out and doing Marcy and all that stuff, and it's a completely different trip this time around. But the perfect mix of challenge and beauty and just awe that you get from it. So yeah, I could spend 3 weeks out here and just every single day would be just as amazing as the one before it. So yeah, love it.
Second time being out I've been in upstate New York a couple of times, but second time in the Adirondacks, I'm just completely, it's so blissful. And I leave so inspired on so many different levels. I can't wait to come back. I think the towns around the area are beautiful. I think the High Peaks region is beautiful. I just love the trees. I mean, it's just a magnificent place to visit. I don't know. I can't wait to come back. It's almost it's difficult to put a pin in how exciting it is and how much I love this place. And I think I was kind of looking forward to coming back the second time just to really prove out if what the experience and the magic that I felt the first time out there was real, and not only confirm that but add it to it this trip. So I'm ready to come back.
Hell yes.
It's weird. Yeah, I agree with all that. The first trip it felt like it was very different. I felt like the peaks were different. I felt like I think that's the thing that I love about 80K a lot, is the variety of it is so vast. There really is a lot that area has to offer, and you could come back every single year and see something different and hit something different. And I think that's what's so cool about that place, is that you don't have to go to the same trail and do the same hike and do the same thing. I guess this is what I'm thinking of, Dolly Sods, right? You can go around, do the same kind of trail. You can go see the same kind of thing. But that area is so big. Yeah. There's just so much that it has to offer. So I love 80K for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
All right. Well, that's it for From the Van.
Only 5.5 hours to go.
5.5 hours to go.
I'm ready for some snacks.
If you enjoyed this From the Van episode and want us to podcast from the car more often, let us know in the comments below. We might ignore those, but we appreciate you guys listening and watching. If you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe. That helps the channel grow and helps our community and family grow, and we appreciate it. We love you. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Cheers, boys.
You better subscribe,
or you'll be leaving with a fat lip. The Trail Theory Podcast is sponsored by Audimute and Audio Technica. Music by Dan Koch.